sure my mic's on first, yes. This is 16. Monday, November 16, 2015. We'll have a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. During the moment of silent prayer, please remember the victims of the terrorism over in France. Paris.
David Valley.
He's not here this evening.
Nancy Sherlock.
Here.
Fred Carter is not here. Victor Cicero.
Here.
Jeffrey Johnson.
Here.
Fred Chronicle.
Here.
Ted Parker.
Here.
Todd Sanford.
Here.
Debbie Smith.
Here.
Anna. Sean Kilkenny or Allison. And Tom Bates and Robert Wood.
First on the agenda this evening is a special presentation. We have the crownings of the Mr., or I should say Master, Winterfest 2015 and Miss Winterfest 2015. If I guess the chairperson of the Winterfest committee would come forward.
Good evening. My name is Robin Wright.
Is that on, Rob? I don't think. Yes.
Has it?
No. No.
Button on the side, Robin.
Here we go.
You know, it's on.
Okay, hi. My name is Robin Wright, and I'm here on behalf of the Morrisville Winterfest Parade. Tonight, we're going to present the winners of the Miss Winterfest contest and Mr. Winterfest contest.
Bob, it's out. The mic's out again.
Every month. Every month.
Yeah.
Every month.
Every month.
Nobody realizes that.
Did you hit the button? Don't hit the button.
We never have fun. Okay. The winner of Miss Winterfest this year is, I'd like to present the winner from this Winterfest this year. Her name is Alexis Olson. Alexis is a senior at the Borough Cyber Charter School. She is a senior. She's in color guard, and she volunteers with Borough Park. She is planning on going to college for veterinary technician. The second junior Miss Winterfest is Fiona Harris. Fiona? Thank you. Fiona is 10 years old. She's in 5th grade, where she was recently selected to be on student government. Fiona dances with the McCoy School of Irish Dancing. She's in her 6th year of Girl Scouts. She plays soccer and track for Holy Trinity. And Fiona likes to draw. She enjoys creative writing and jump rope. And our little Miss Winterfest is Dylan Jackson. Little Mr. Winterfest. Dylan is in 1st grade. He is at Grandview. He is one of 5 children. He is a twin. He has 4 sisters. So Dylan is a little charmer, and he has a huge heart. This past summer, his twin sister saw a monkey that she wanted to buy. It was rather expensive, and he came up with the idea of us having a lemonade stand. So he asked his neighbor George to help him make a lemonade stand to sell lemonade to raise money to help his sister buy the monkey. So it was 3 very successful lemonade stands, and it looks like she'll be getting the monkey soon. He's very sociable, and he's won 1st place for 2 years in the fire poster drawing contest at his grade level. So I'd like to congratulate all 3 of them. you'd like to give me a call, you can call me at 267-573-9160, or you can drop a note off at my house at 335 Hamilton Boulevard. The parade will start promptly at 10:30 a.m. on West Coast Road at the old Chotti's. It's now Temple Korea Cristiano. And if you go out West Coast Road to Delaware Avenue, left on Washington, left on the bridge, right onto Pennsylvania, and left onto Palmer. This year we are having a float competition again. It's $20 if you'd like to register for the competition, and the winner of the competition will get $250. So thank you all so much for supporting us.
Excuse me, could you say your, just slower, the number and the address again?
267-573-9160.
Okay, thank you.
And my address is 335 Hamilton Boulevard. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I ask you, at the end of the parade, does it go back to the school this time? They're gonna have, the crafts and stuff?
Yep, everything's gonna have to be back to the school this year.
Okay.
And then I guess we're lighting the tree down here, Mrs. Claus is reading, and we're gonna go to the Baptist church to sign all of their
Okay.
usual stuff. It's gonna be a full day again.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, let's see, is Pam Coleman here? Pam Coleman is the director of Denmark Towns. She was going to speak this evening, but I guess she couldn't make it. All right, next, we have the approval of the minutes.
The public, right?
Comment. You know why? Because it's not on the agenda. Sorry. Okay. Ed Tashina, did I have that say right? Okay. 227 West Franklin, please come forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. My name is Ed Tashjian. I live at 227 West Franklin Street, right in Morrisville. And before I start, I just want to, please excuse me for my appearance. I just got home from work and didn't have a chance to change. So, what I wanted to do, it was brought to my attention sometime last month that the municipal building was and is being used as a meeting place for a partisan political group, and is scheduled for more of the same on December 3rd. As a 6-year resident of Morrisville, I suspected that the usage of borough property is in direct violation of Resolution 447, later revised to become Resolution 620. I believe the residents of Morrisville have the right to know how the properties are being used. Are any other groups or persons using the properties in violation of Resolution 620? If so, who? Who authorized such uses, and who authorized this partisan political group to meet? Because you are in possession of a key to the property does not mean you have unfettered use of that property. Such unauthorized usage is not only a violation of the resolution, but a violation of public trust. This prompted me to request a copy of Resolution 620, and it clearly states the allowed usages of borough property. After reading Resolution 620, which clearly states, no borough facility may be used by any person or group of persons as a place for meetings or gatherings for partisan political purposes. It also states that the borough manager may authorize the use of the meeting in the municipal building for purposes only relating to the official business of the borough or other governmental agencies. I would like to know if this usage is going to stop. This violation of public trust is the cause of much resident dissatisfaction and distrust of elected officials. Now, I want to go back. I asked a couple questions, and I'm going to re-ask them. Are any other groups or persons using the properties in violation of Resolution 620?
I won't be answering these questions at this time, sir. We'll have some discussion on this later.
Okay. Well, the other questions are, again, who authorized such uses, and who authorized this partisan political group to meet? And all I have to say is, if we don't have any answers, who's watching the hen house? I want to thank you for your time and appreciate you listening.
Thank you. Next, Kurt Holdenrich.
Good evening, Kurt Holtenrich, 300 Melvin Court. The only thing I have a question about, this contract for our waste removal with Republic Services. I'm not really seeing much procurement of competitive bids, discussion about this company. Wife and I did some research. Other people have looked into this company and their ratings are horrible. The customer reviews are abysmal. And for the money that we'll be paying for our trash services, we don't deserve a company that can't get even a fair rating in trash removal. We have plenty of companies in this area that you can get bids from, good bids, that may be able to provide a better service. I know Mascaro, some people do complain here and there, but overall, it has not been a bad service. They take the trash, they're there pretty much every time they're supposed to be there. But the Republic Services from Jersey, horrible reviews and ratings as a provider in the areas that they're in. And I really hope that this does not get approved as a contract for tonight. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Eileen Dreisbach.
Eileen Dreisbach, 75 Harrison Avenue. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm glad to see that the vote for the borough manager was removed from the agenda for this evening, because I did want to speak on that. As a member of council, I do not feel that it would have been appropriate for any of you to actually put that up on the agenda until next January at least. I sat on council for 8 years, and I know several people complained that we could not vote on contracts at the end of the year and lock new council members into these contracts. And the president was one of those who had said that numerous times. And I don't see what's changed, why we should be able to change that this year and vote for a borough manager before new council members are appointed or sworn in January. So I think that should be a something to be on hold until at least January. And I'd also like to know if there were bids or applications, and how many, and if anyone has been interviewed yet. Because I don't know how you can possibly hire a borough manager without interviewing them. We even interview people for committees. Why would you not interview a borough manager of all people? Someone that's going to be in charge of the entire borough. And the second thing that I have is, I'd like to thank those 2 council members that stood up last Tuesday when I had requested the Pledge of Allegiance in recognition of our veterans, as Veterans Day was on Wednesday. And for the ones that stood up in the audience and said the Pledge of Allegiance with me. And I read something today, and I just wanted to state something that is very true. When you disrespect our flag, you disrespect those who died for our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Dominic Folinti.
Hello, my name is Dominic Folinti. I represent the Public Services. We just wanted to, is that better? Just wanted to thank everyone for giving us the opportunity to bid on the trash recycling. And just to give you some background, our company actually serviced this account for 2 bid cycles, 2000 up until 2010. It was run out of the Lower Bucks office. Our office is in Port Richmond. The supervisor who's going to be monitoring the account actually lives in Morrisville and is very familiar. So we have a local presence. We feel very confident that we put together a good cost savings bid for the borough, and that we're in a great position because we have the transfer station underneath the growing division. We can do a good job for the borough. And any questions that will arise, we have full confidence that we vetted our bid with the appropriate parties because of the challenging bid environment that we live in. But again, thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to servicing the borough.
Thank you. Next is Bill Farrell.
Bill Farrell, 347 Pennsylvania. A couple of people already spoke on some of the items I was going to talk about. I printed out this agenda thing on Saturday, and I had this, which is identical to the one on the table. I printed out this one today, and F and G are off of the agenda. Could somebody give me a reasonable explanation why you removed it? I sure would like to know.
Are you saying from Fridays, Bill?
This was removed today.
What you have on the table right now is what we're voting on. The agenda changes on occasion for different reasons.
Okay, I printed the one on Friday, and it had F and G on there, which is the borough manager and the contract for the recycling. I went on the website and got this one, and F and G are not on it. Are you voting on these tonight or not? I'm trying to figure out what you're doing.
It's right there on the table, Mr. Farrell.
That's the one I got, but this one I got off your website is F and G is not on it. You understand my point? Did somebody take them off, or you didn't change them?
I have a question. Are you saying that the one that you have in your left hand, it stops at E? There is no F and G at all?
Correct. Would you like to see it?
No, I trust that that's what you're telling me. But I'm
My
sorry.
point is, this was Friday and had F and G. This is today, Monday, and had F and G's not on it. So I assumed you took it off. I don't know. That's my question.
They're on. They're on.
Oh, they're on?
Yes.
Okay. And I can speak on. First of all, can somebody give me a synopsis related to the position of borough manager, how you accomplished this?
The borough manager is not on there, but there is a new F and a new G.
It says to appoint a borough manager, this one I got.
Mr. Farrell, the one that we're working on right now, that as we sit up here, it's the one that's on the table.
That's under finances. Man, you people got me going nuts here. All right, relative to that, how did you reach the conclusion for a borough manager?
We have not reached that conclusion yet, Mr. Farrell. That conclusion has not been reached yet. Do you have any other questions?
Oh, yeah, I'm not done yet.
All right, go ahead.
I don't want to let you off too easy. I was going to rebut, I had asked a question for years about everybody wasn't getting the information, and I questioned it last monthly meeting, and the mayor's not here, and he replied to it. I was going to rebut it, but I won't rebut it until I see him sitting up there. Prior to the election, there was a lot of crazy stuff on Facebook. Now, I don't deal with Facebook. I just think it's a lot of nasty things were said. And I see some of the people whose names were mentioned on Facebook here tonight. Why don't you act civil? You people start talking nasty stuff about people. And I'll tell you what, this town is notorious for that. I spent 2 years on the school board. They had a blog, and people signed anonymous, which to me is the name as a, you won't put your name. They talked about me, they talked about my wife, they talked about my sons. They didn't know my sons, they didn't know my wife, and they probably thought they knew me. But it's about time people in this town Be upfront with people. Don't be writing nasty stuff. That's why we're where we're at, because of that nastiness. And that's where this whole country's going. The only thing I will say is that there's an election coming in 2 years. I think myself personally, more purging has to be done. I'm not going to explain it to you. You know I understand it. And Mr. Cicero, I have one question for you. Can you explain the difference between a controller and an auditor? Okay, Victor, I knew you wouldn't answer, so I'll answer it for you. The controller is elected. And the biggest difference is $3,600 for each audit. Other than that, all I have to say is, RIP to the Chicago 5 and the Shanghai 6. I'm glad to see they're not part of Morrisville anymore. Thank you.
Jane Berger?
Jane Berger, 90 West Maple Avenue. First is a clarification on the leaf pickup. I'm hoping that it's a busy season, trash truck fills up a lot, that the leaves that were not picked up today, which are scheduled on our recycling day, the crew will continue tomorrow to pick up the leaves. There are lots of leaves up and down West Maple Avenue, and they're going to stay there until they get picked up. I just want to clarify, it's a busy season, and it may take longer than 1 day to get all the leaves from the residents in town that had a Monday recycling. I'm glad to see the appointment of the manager has been removed this evening. I do have a question. I know Mr. Bates has sent a letter of resignation, and we're going to lose him at some point at the end of this year. But I'm just wondering why that has not been accepted by motion of council as an appointed official. It's different than somebody in the office or public works or somewhere that tenders a resignation. And knowing the date you accept the resignation would also let everybody know the first date that that vacancy could then be filled with the new appointment. Done that way in other places, and it's been done in the past here when you appoint someone from council that seem to accept the resignation, whatever their date is. I want to thank Mr. Bates for last month confirming that we're correct in that debts cannot be paid from the sinking fund. That's only for principal and interest on loans. So I'm hoping to make arrangements to pay back that sinking fund in proper expenditures by December 31st. As you know, for the DCED audit, we're on a cash basis that runs on a calendar year. I'm able to track at least $4,300. I don't know if there are any other payments made to Johnson Controls under the category of contingency. They weren't separated out, but I hope not. We don't have a lot of money, particularly in the general fund, and as we know, the street lighting fund also is in a deficit. And related to that, I remember also from past experience and from things Mr. Bates has said that we don't pay a charge for the electric as you would metered electricity. It's a price per light. So if we have 600 and some lights, whatever the cost per light per pole would be, that's what we would pay. Unfortunately, JCI didn't finish the job in December, but not until April or May. So I'm wondering if Mr. Bates contacted PECO or the energy supplier to renegotiate that lower price for the poles that were installed with LED lights in December. And I'm hoping to hear that didn't happen, that it has, and you've been to PECO, and we have a new lower rate for the street lights. Regarding the borough manager ordinance, it's time to remove the residency clause. However, it was mentioned that there's another section that needs to be revised, and I ask you to consider that tonight. And that's the amount in the ordinance of a $25,000 bond for the borough manager. Given the budget's over $6 million, I'm not inferring anything's wrong, but it may be time to have a higher bond, and maybe you may not want to put amount in the ordinance and simply state that the borough manager shall be bonded, and then whatever language you want to put as to how you review that. has been said by Mr. Sherlock and others, the borough's broke due to the general fund. And I have a question about the increase in staffing. It has nothing to do with the individual, their qualifications, or their work performance. It has to do with the timing of increasing the staffing ratio of the borough within the last 6 months of a budget, last 6 weeks of the budget. Shouldn't this have been handled as part of the budget process and increase the staffing from part-time to full-time for that particular position as part of the 2016 budget? Because there's salary, payroll taxes, and I imagine there would be benefits as well. Finally, there seems to still be some confusion about the appointment of our very competent junior council person. The October agenda meeting, we did discuss nominations, but you did not vote. And I tried to explain last month, appointments are a two-step process. You go through the nominations, and then after that, council would vote. I know you don't salute the flag at those agenda meetings because it's been said it's not necessary and you don't vote at that meeting. So had you voted with not asking for public comment, telling them there was an action item that night, and when you were ready for the action item, opening public comment, you would have been in violation of the Sunshine Law. So I really am glad to say tonight that I truly believe you did not vote at the October agenda meeting for the junior council person. And it was presented last month. It wouldn't hurt to put a motion to confirm the appointment of Ms. Zuckerman for this year. If not, you really have a special distinction among the boroughs that participate in this program as being the only one that doesn't officially appoint their junior council person. I was at the fall conference for PSAB and spoke with officials and staff and the coordinator for this program, and some borough representatives who would also have the program, and all of them, the borough council actually put a nice motion at their meeting to actually appoint that person as part of the guidelines. So I just wanted to share you once again are unique. And I was going to congratulate Mr. Kilkenny on his election, so perhaps Ms. Allison, if you will convey that to him with his busy schedule, I would be delighted to see more of you at our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Al DiGennaro. And Sam as well. Are you
Sam
coming up together?
Augustine. Madam President, we're here to talk about
Could you come to the microphone though, please?
My question we're here to talk about 8F, the award of the contract. Should we wait until that comes up on agenda, or do you want us to address it now? Excuse me?
You can do that now.
Okay, thank you. I'm Al DiGennaro. I'm Deputy General Counsel for J.P. Mascara & Sons. I sent a letter into Mr. Gates regarding Mr. Bates regarding the bid that's submitted or purportedly submitted by Republic. I'll just speak a moment for that if I could. Your bid was pretty straightforward and pretty easy to follow, and it's a hallmark in Pennsylvania law that in order for a bid to be valid, it's got to be signed. Anyone can submit a bunch of papers, but if it's not signed, it's not valid. In this instance, anytime you have a corporation, someone that signs a bid has to be authorized by the corporation to execute it. If it's not the president or the vice president, that's the law in Pennsylvania. And in this case, Republic Services included in its bid a resolution that said who could sign the bid. But your bid form, and they had a couple of individuals that could sign the bid, but your bid form very clearly indicated that not only did it need to be signed, but there was a section for a notary. It said sworn to and subscribed to, which from a common sense standpoint, not only from a legal standpoint, means that the bid has to be executed and signed by someone. And in this instance, while there was a document or two submitted by Republic that certainly identified it, they didn't sign their bid. I'm speaking to the council.
No debate right now, sir, please.
If you look at the form, and I see on your agenda that there's a recommendation that you're going to award the contract to Republic, but I just want to point out to you that your form says sworn to and subscribed before me this blank day of blank, and you fill in the blank. It's got to be executed. There's a case right on point in Pennsylvania in neighboring Montgomery County, White Marsh Township versus Finelli Brothers, where the township tried to make the bidder comply with the bid because there was an issue about it. The court said, you can't force a bidder to comply with the bid submitted. It didn't sign the form. So, you know, with all due respect to whatever you've been told so far, it's your form. Anybody can put in papers, but it has to be signed, and it hasn't been signed. And the fact that it's printed, it says submitted by, and it's got the word Republican Services of Pennsylvania. And on the second line, it has a name, and the person did sign, the gentleman's here, he did sign the bid. And you can't, I'm not,
I'm sorry,
Point
sir.
of order.
sir, I didn't
Sir.
comment on you.
Dominic, please.
So, I mean,
Okay.
with all due respect, I understand the borough's in a tight financial situation, but you can't award the contract to a bid that's not valid or effective.
Okay.
And I just wanted to have Sam Augustine speak to you for a moment. You know, we do appreciate having been business for the last 5 years, and we valued our relationship with the borough, but I'd be remiss if I didn't point out to you that they didn't sign their bid. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Sam Augustine, I'm Director of Sales for J.P. Mascaro & Sons. I've been in the waste business for over 30 years, and I'm quite familiar with municipal contracts throughout eastern Pennsylvania, whether it's boroughs, townships, or cities. Now, there's a couple ways that you go about borough contracts, city contracts, or township contracts. And you could charge your customers a user fee, or your residents as a user fee, or you could charge your residents through the tax system, through your millage. I'm not sure how you do it here, but I assume you charge it through your millage. Either way, your residents have a right to have excellent trash service. I know that over the past 5 years, our company has had this contract. There was some concern when Mascaro got this contract whether they were going to fulfill the contract properly and keep on top of this contract. I can tell you that we've kept in close communication with your manager, Tom Bates, and we've done an excellent job. In fact, we saved the borough some money 5 years ago, and we were awarded the last 2 option years without basic notice. We were just awarded it because the service was so good. Now, I know that the ratcheting of prices in the garbage industry has come down somewhat, but I can tell you that my eyes were widely opened in that the Waste Management, whose landfill is literally minutes from here, okay, bid on this contract and was very competitive with our bid, and our bid was very close in range to what we're currently doing, guaranteed for the next 5 years. And then you had a bid come in from Republic Services that is basically 17% below what we're doing. And I understand that there may be a budget crisis. That's what it was said here tonight in Morrisville Borough, and I understand that you're concerned about your financial condition, but you also need to be concerned about the services afforded to residents. And as a director of sales for our company, I can tell you, when you put a bid together and you have documents that need to be signed, okay, and a company doesn't sign a document in a bid solicitation that's actually a bid solicitation for almost $4 million to $5 million over 5 years, which is one of the biggest representations of money that you'll have in this community, okay, on yearly or over 5 years, and then just to ignore that, okay, if that's what's on your piece of paper that you're going to award this bid, okay, I would be surprised. I would be very surprised. And, you know, your residents have received quality service over the next 5 years, and if you get into a situation, I don't know if they forgot to put a truck into the services, or how they put this bid together, maybe it was in haste, but I would be concerned about that. I would be very concerned about that. So I'm just going to, you know, express my viewpoints, and I'll wait to see what the outcome is. But I want to say that nonetheless, we've been very happy to serve your borough over the last 5 years. We appreciate it. We're not going away. We're going to be we're in business to stay as a private company, and we have all the resources to continue servicing the borough should you award it to us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Dorothy Murphy?
questions. The October meeting minutes, when will they be posted?
As soon as they're approved,
Okay, that's how they're normally done?
yes.
Okay,
It can't be posted until they're approved.
and that will be done tonight?
Correct.
All right,
On the
great.
agenda,
Great, super. I didn't have a chance to read through the whole agenda, but thank you. That's my question. My second question is for the position that was just filled, that your daughter was received, going from part-time to full-time. How many applicants did you interview for that job?
I don't know, I don't handle hiring.
Who can answer that question for me? How many applicants were interviewed?
Two.
Okay, 2 applicants, and how many applied?
Wait, where we going?
I don't know.
No,
I'm sorry, was that a question?
This is a
this is
personnel.
not a question and answer period. You can say what you want, but you don't
Oh,
question.
wait a minute, you represent me and I can't ask questions, because
You
that's
can
pretty
say,
much.
you can
what
ask
we do.
questions and we don't have to answer them.
Oh, that's how that works,
That's
okay.
right, exactly.
I know that. That's very good. Now, for in terms of going along with your town manager, how's that process gonna be out there? How is that gonna be promoted?
We'll be discussing that later. Under,
Okay, but what's the policy procedure for appointing a borough manager? And please answer my question, because you are my ward representative, and I'm entitled to that answer. How is it done?
It will be talked about later. Mrs.
Is there a
Murphy.
procedure and policy in place in Morrisville Borough on how to hire a new borough?
We will talk about it later, Ms. Murphy.
Well,
They don't answer public speaking.
you
It's
don't
not a-
answer
it's not an
questions?
answer.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
There will be a recall, just thought I'd let you know.
Okay. Moving on. We're moving on to reports. Is there a manager's report this evening?
One thing, I just want to thank Joe Kavanaugh and all the public works people for cleaning up downtown. Did a nice job in Center City. Also, I just want to answer the one question on 620, the use of public property. When you say the use of public property, they've been using, the Democrat Club and the Republican Club have been using the library, which is a borough property, and have been using it for years. That's a public property, and it is a borough property. And they have been using that for years. When the Democrat, they did, for some reason, they couldn't use the library anymore. And when the Democrat Club asked me if they could use this, since they were basically council people, divided Republicans and Democrats, I thought both of them could use this also. That was my decision. It was wrong, and we will not let anybody use this. I'm sorry, but they were using the public library for years, and I don't know, probably long before I was ever here. Probably, how long, Jane? Maybe you could tell me.
No, we're not.
No, I'm not. It's been done for a long, long time, and that's a borough building also. And that, same thing when that resolution
And it's
was
done
passed.
against ordinance,
Just, I just wanted to answer that.
Thank you, thank you,
It's the end of my report.
thank you. If you're going to have discussion, please leave the room. Oh, okay. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of October 19, 2015?
So moved.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Questions or comments on the minutes?
Yeah, in the minutes, I have no problem with what's drawn up on it. It is exactly what we said at the meeting, but it is stated in there that you said we appointed the junior council person. And if you do that, that has to be done by motion. So I really wish you would just put that motion up and do it. Other than that, I'm okay with the minutes.
When we met on Tuesday, October 13th, at the agenda meeting / special meeting,
Right.
there was much discussion regarding how we were going to vote for the junior council person and how we were going to go about it. What did you want to do? Were we going to put it, make it on paper? Would we verbalize it because we were dealing with the student?
Correct.
At that time, we voted for the junior council person.
Well,
Sorry, we voted for the junior council person. It's a special meeting, and you can have votes.
okay, so we took a vote and it went around and we had that recorded in our minutes because then you didn't open it for public comment if you did that. because I was there. We picked the name, and that was the agenda meeting, we weren't voting at that one.
Okay.
This is what you said.
I'm not denying that.
Okay, well, I'm saying this, it's a simple procedure, so when you come here, you say, okay, this is the person, and you put up for a motion, and we vote, officially vote.
Okay, so how can we put a motion this evening? I'll open up the public comment again so they can come and talk about our junior council person.
No, I'm just.
No, that's what you're saying. You're saying in order for us to vote, we had to open up to public comment. So if you want to open up to public comment and redo this, we have, you've now put a student in the middle of an argument. We could make her sit back down again until we appoint her. Is this what you want to do?
It's not an argument.
How about an argument?
She's a lovely girl, and I'm glad she's here. I'm saying there's a two-part procedure when you appoint someone, no matter who it is. That's all I asked you to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Cicero?
Is this for the minutes?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Carnicle?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Sanford?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Sherlock?
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Before we move on to reports, we have Pam Coleman here with the Livermore Towns, who would like to present some words.
I apologize, I was here at 7, I dropped my notes as I was locking the door behind me, had to go back to Washington Crossing.
Okay.
All right, you received a letter from us, and I thought I'd go through the highlights from that. The Landmark Towns program has provided Morrisville this year. Landmark Towns and the DNL facilitated strategic planning in January, and we have been following that plan since then. You've been receiving copies of it in the information we send out on a monthly basis. The Morrisville Borough Council has received regular board minutes, the coordinator's report, and other relevant documents throughout the year. Last month, we did not have a quorum in the meeting, and the meeting before that was canceled. We had other meetings that were conflicting with that, so the board was encouraged to go to those meetings, and we rescheduled. We're meeting again on Thursday. By working with the Morrisville Business Association, Landmark Towns was able to access demographic and psychographic data on the customers coming to downtown Morrisville. They worked with us and did a zip code count, and we've got the data. That data is now on file with the borough, the raw data, and we're in the process of doing the analysis of it. I'm working with the marketing professor up at Bucks County Community College. She's doing as a class project this fall, next spring, and I expect she'll keep using it. She uses this data to teach her students, and she's never had local numbers. So she'll be working with us and helping the students, coming up with reports. I'll be working on coming up with more reports. The value of this report, all this data that you've received, is about $3,300. It comes through the Pennsylvania Downtown Center, which Landmark Towns is a member. And it's one of the member benefits as a Main Street community program. We've never accessed it, so they let us do all 4 communities. So that's a lot of data. It will work to act, they're working with the Bucks County Planning Commission, and they'll be looking at the numbers on the customers that potential, and we'll be able to contrast with the customers that are already coming. It's quite interesting, and if you like to crunch numbers, I encourage you to get it from the borough office and play with it. The